You've been listening to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin. Join us on the next episode where we'll be talking to a successful agent or vendor about the right things to do and the wrong things you should avoid. Join us on the next episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast.
I like it.
All right. Thank you all for joining the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast. I have a great legend, Charlotte area inspector with me. Realtor. Actually, she could be an inspector because she's been in the business long enough. We're just talking about how hot the attics are. But I have Miss Natalie Terry. How are you doing, Natalie?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me today, Preston. It's good to see you.
I feel very fortunate to have a rock star realtor in my presence because you are a legend in the market. So for those who don't know you, give us a little background. Where are you from? How did you get into, did you watch too much HGTV? What happened?
No, none of that, right? No, I say I'm from Charlotte, and I got my license 25 years ago. And and how I got my license is I was working as a registered nurse at Carolinas, Maine, is what they
Okay.
called it, CMC Maine back then. I was working on the heart unit. And my girlfriend, who was older than me, we're on a break, and she says, Natalie, my husband got a real estate license and we should take the class. And I was like, okay, let's go take the class. And I was just taking the class to support her, right? But
Right.
then, I also wanted to learn how to invest, own rental property. That was where my head was.
Mhm.
So I had no intention of selling real estate. Zero.
Okay.
And here I am all these years later selling real estate. So,
You're really good at it too.
well, thank you. Thank you. So we have to
Well,
keep it fun though.
absolutely. Well, be honest. How many times have you walked into a house and thought, wow, someone actually lives like this?
You know, um, Here's what I say to people because that happens to all of us more than not. But I've tried to put blinders on over the years, and what I say to people is how you live in your house and how you sell your house is two different things,
Right, right.
right? So that's my way of saying to them, whatever this looks like, I'm just going to try to not be in judgment about it, because, like, let's be honest, we all have a junk room in the house, right? Now, some are worse than others, okay?
Oh,
Truly.
mine's
Yeah,
pretty bad. But my
yeah,
youngest daughter's even worse. So.
yeah. And I do try to warn the home inspector if that's the case, right? I'll call
Oh,
you and
I've
be like,
seen some crazy
well,
stuff.
yeah, this one's rough.
Yeah, what are the three P's they used to say? What is it? Paint, pictures, and plants or something. I used
Oh,
to hear.
I hadn't heard that one in a while. I like that.
Yeah,
Paint,
well, I
pictures,
think,
and plants. I'm on that.
but put up generic pictures, not people
Yeah,
pictures, because people got
right.
to,
Oh,
see
yeah, yeah,
themselves
yeah.
living there. But plants and paint and make it more
Yeah.
roomy. You don't want to make it like
I
a
like
crack a
that.
wall.
I really
Yeah,
like that though. That's very good. Thanks for the
the,
reminder on that.
the
That's
three
really
P's.
awesome. The three P's it is.
Well, speaking of that, what is I mean, we're talking about crazy stuff. What's the weirdest or most unexpected thing you found during a home showing?
Well,
And it's a G-rated show, so
it's a G,
I
right?
told
Okay,
iTunes.
well, I know, right? Exactly.
If you can
Um,
figure out a creative way.
yeah, right. I mean, can I say the word naked? Is
Oh
that a
yeah,
good word?
yeah.
So, I mean, I did have a showing one time where we had made the appointment on the fly, right? And it
Mhm.
got approved immediately. So, you know, we're, I mean, I literally made the appointment pulling into the neighborhood, right? And got to the house and opened the door. And all of a sudden, I look up and there is a naked man at
Oh
the
my
top of the
gosh.
stairs, and he's wet, which is even weirder. Okay, like his
Oh,
hair is
did you get
wet.
out of the shower or something, I guess? Or-
Correct, correct. And he's like, "You're not supposed to be here yet." I'm like, "Come on." say, good news is there was no kids with us. There was
Right.
nothing like that. But me and my lady client were a little bit disturbed, and we turned around. And we turned around and said, we're just going to give you a few minutes. You just take your time. And we turned around and got out of there. And here's the crazy part. She bought that house.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, she ended
That
up
is it.
buying that. She ended up buying that house. So I guess, what can
I'm
you
trying to
say?
think. Maybe there's some moral to, I don't know.
There might be. I don't know what it is, but wow. Yeah. Yeah, it
I,
was crazy.
I went to inspect a house in Nodal one time, and I was training a guy too. So
Yeah.
thank goodness, because I'm like I didn't want. Anyway, a woman came to the door, and she had taken a shower, and she like was wearing a towel, but I was
Yeah.
very uncomfortable,
I'm sure.
and she was like, "Come on in," and I'm like, maybe I should wait till you get."
Yeah.
I was not comfortable with it. I mean,
I'm sure not.
she
No.
seemed very relaxed, but I was
Right.
not.
Well, I'm glad this guy wasn't relaxed because that would have been, you know what I'm saying? It was very
Oh yeah.
uncomfortable, right? But
Well,
he
and
was
we
like,
also inspected a house one time, and I'm not trying to hijack your thing.
mm-mm.
And I went, the house was supposed to be vacant, and I went and I was doing the thing, and I went into the bedroom. Dude was asleep in there, and he woke up. I was, he was more chill. I thought, he might shoot me or something. I mean, if somebody came into my room and I was sleeping, but
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I had a showing
Yeah.
time. It was scheduled. I think he was a tenant, and I don't know if somebody
Yeah.
didn't communicate. Fortunately, I didn't get shot. So, but
Oh,
anyway,
that's
speaking
a
of
good day.
yeah, I'm a lot more cautious now. I'm like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no,
Really
no, no,
loud.
inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure. And even when I'm walking through the house, hello, hello, even though
Yeah. Yep.
So, Natalie, if buying a home was like dating, what
Oh,
kind of
no.
person is the real estate market right now? Swiping left, swiping right,
Well, I don't even
is it
know. Man,
hopeless
I'm so
romantic?
out of my league here. I don't even know.
I know. I asked my daughters this, and I was like, I don't know. I never did online dating, so I don't really
No,
know.
me neither. Like that's not really is that a thing still? Like I don't know.
Yeah. Or,
Like
how would you describe the market now? I mean, I guess.
how would I describe the market? The market is hot or cold.
Right, right,
And what I mean by that is all the pretty stuff that looks really good, that's priced correctly, it flies off the market, it's hot, right?
right, 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 right.
And the stuff that needs a little bit of work or that might not be priced correctly is a little bit cooler and tends to hang around a little bit longer. And those are the properties that we're seeing some price reductions on.
Gotcha. Do
So
you
I
see?
still think I still think we're still in a strong seller's market. All
Right.
right. We're still, under that 3 months of inventory. But we are correcting.
Yeah. I was. I'm a real estate license, but I'm not. I just got it so I could get the key. I was always
What are
told
you
that.
doing, Preston? We need to work. Come
I know. I
on.
guess I could do referrals, but I was always taught. But I don't know if this is still true. That what 6 months is a equilibrium. If it's below seller or buyer's market, is that? But I don't know if that's still true. That was.
So the way that I always learned it is anything under 3 months is a seller's market, right?
Mhm.
3 to 5 months is more of a neutral or stable market, right? And then anything over 5 to 6 months is considered a buyer's market.
Right. But I have
So
heard a lot of realtors say, to your point about pricing
yeah,
right, if it's not priced right and it's on the market too long,
yeah,
kind of if you think about dating apps,
yeah,
why has
yeah,
this person been on here for a long time?
right?
What's
Exactly.
wrong with it?
Exactly. That's a good way to look at that. I saw a statistic last quarter that was really interesting to me. And it basically said that if the house isn't sold in the first 9 days, that it takes 11 times longer for it to sell.
I
And
believe
that
that.
was and that was second quarter, was that first quarter statistics of this year for our local MLS was
I
it would
believe
take
that.
11 times longer if it's not under contract in the first 9 days.
I believe that because
And I
everybody
was
wants
like,
it because of
oh,
that. That psychology, what we just said,
Correct.
and
Correct. Yeah.
100%. If you could eliminate one cliche phrase from real estate world forever, like cozy or something like that, what would you
Oh,
eliminate?
like what's the word? Um, I
Or
know
do you
this
think's
is,
overused or something,
yeah.
like
Well, I think, the word stunning is overused,
right.
right? I do think that. I think cozy it just means small, right?
Right. It's a
Um,
nice way to say
yeah,
handyman's dream. Like,
right.
oh, yeah, that's gonna be
Exactly.
a great one.
Exactly. Yeah, right. So maybe just the word stunning, right,
Okay.
is a little bit overdone, but hey, listen, in today's world, we gotta really pump it up a little bit, right? And with AI can switch whatever word you don't like,
Oh yeah, no, you run stuff
right?
through Chat GPT and
For
but that
sure.
I wonder though, I mean, we use it a lot and I love it.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Sometimes I'm wondering, like, when I get any, did you really say this or did you run this through? It's
right.
just, I don't
Yeah,
know if we're going to be even talking to each other. We're just going to tell our AIs to have your
yeah.
AI call my,
I know,
you
right?
know. But speaking of
Man,
that AI, that's a
yeah,
big question. I mean, that's, the shiny object right now. Are you
yeah.
using any, or are you seeing any, or have any
I love it.
ideas of how it can be used in real estate?
Yeah, well, I think most of us are writing property descriptions or helping us with that, right?
Just tell it not to
Um,
use stunning.
Correct. Yes, please replace that word. I mean, so I think that's, just a given. The other thing that I like is that AI did is I asked it to do a rental versus buying comparison for me one
Oh,
time,
wow.
and I put in all of the data and so that it could help the seller determine whether they should stick with the property and rent it out or if they wanted to, take some minimal projection of how it would appreciate, or not do any renovations and sell it currently. So it was really cool actually. And I sent
That
it
is
to
cool.
her.
Did it have the could it also come up with like the tax implications of each? Like if you
Well, and I told it what the taxes were on each on the property. I told it about what the market appreciation should look like conservatively year over year, right, on a 5-year hold. I told it about what the rent would be, right.
right.
So I gave it all of the data kind of thing, and he said, I'm keeping the property.
Hmm. But you're a great realtor because
Myself right out of that sale. It was awesome.
yeah, but you know
That
what?
was really good.
That
It was
that
really
person
good.
will probably refer you to somebody else,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
you, you
No, and I say that being funny, right?
oh, I
Like,
know, I know.
totally.
But while we are on that subject, that's another, everybody's had that client from Hades. Have you ever had the client from Hades and felt like you had to have a drink?
Oh my gosh.
Anything crazy they did?
I will tell you, I had a client one time, and I loved her. Okay, like I loved her personality, but this is how she would talk to me. Right? She was from, I want to say she was somewhere from South America, and she had a very thick accent. But she would say, "Natalie, these floors are cheapened," and I would say, what's wrong with the floors? And she would say, in my country, we have teak. These are oak. These are cheapened. So every house that I showed her back in that time, had oak
I
floors.
don't teak. The
I
only
mean,
place I know they have teak would be a boat. That's the only place.
exactly. Right. And she's like, no, she's like, these floors, and so now, so here's I guess the funny part about it is every time I hear the word cheap, I think of her, right? Because
Not really. They're cheap teak
Or
floors.
cheapened. Okay, got it. So, anyways,
They're
so
stunning. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I should have flipped the script on her. You
Yeah,
know, we need
yeah,
scripts too. You know.
yeah, exactly.
No, no, so she was great. I generally don't have tough clients. I feel very blessed in that way. I feel like the people that I work with send me great people. And so, every so often, if I have one that's a little challenging, um, well, I just don't work with them much.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, like when I was young, I thought I wanted all the business, but as
Right.
I gotten older,
No.
there's some business you don't want.
No, exactly, exactly. So I'm very fortunate. I don't attract that as much anymore.
Yeah, same, same. I think it goes to what you were saying. You sort of attract, and
Yeah.
that 80-20 rule, I think holds true in a lot of things, like
Yes.
it in a good way and a bad way. It's like
Yes. Yes.
you get 80%, you do the top 20, but also sometimes 80% of your headaches can come from 20%. And you got to figure out if you're in that 20%,
Ooh,
you're going to
it
use too much of
totally
my
applies.
bandwidth. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what do you think is the biggest mistake first-time homebuyers make? You wish you could get hold of them and shake them. Yeah. What would
Yeah,
you, or what advice would you give them?
right. I
I
think
don't
the
see you
advice that
shaking anybody.
no, 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 I'm not going to shake anybody. I feel like first-time home buyers are afraid of the mortgage process.
Mhm.
Right? They're afraid of two things. They're afraid of the mortgage process and they're afraid of the home inspection, right? And so, my advice is truly to, hire a professional, hire a realtor that you trust to guide you through that process because if that realtor has great partners on, the mortgage side and the inspection side, right? Then, there's ways to navigate all of that to where the buyers can be informed, but they can feel like they're in the driver's seat. Like try to
100%.
take the scariness out of it, right?
Right, right.
So, so I think it's important to and don't go it alone, right? So many first-time home buyers are like, oh, I'm just going to go to the open house and we'll see how it is, right? And that's great, but the open house
Would you walk
agent,
into a courthouse without a lawyer?
right, exactly. Are you going to surgery without a doctor or a
Yeah.
surgeon, So,
And that
um,
person at the open house has a fiduciary duty to the seller.
correct,
Yeah.
correct, for sure.
And
So,
I know there was that lawsuit, but typically, I mean, I
yeah,
think, correct me if I'm wrong, I still think for the most part, you don't really have to pay a buyer's agent, do you? I know you. I mean, are sellers still paying for the most part, or how are you navigating that now since
yeah.
the lawsuit?
For sure. We're seeing that a lot of sellers are still offering buyer agent compensation.
Right,
I think at the end of the day, what NAR's goal was is to create some transparency, right?
right.
To where buyers and sellers knew what services that they were
It
paying.
wasn't just on the MLS, like,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. And so, I think that one of the things that we have is like I have what do you call it? A document that says
Mhm.
that's titled the 105 things that buyers agents do,
Oh, wow.
right? And so, anyway,
Oh,
so,
I think they work
buyers
super
agents
hard.
the buyers agents work really hard, so even on listing appointments, I go to bat for buyers agents, right?
100%.
And
I mean,
as a and that's a good thing for the seller too, you
yeah,
know?
I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I heard when that settlement first came out, some people, not real estate people, but
Yeah.
like, I'm not paying about, and I'm like, so you
Okay.
think somebody's going to bring somebody to your house and not get paid? Yeah,
Right.
I mean, what? I mean, you're good
Yeah.
luck selling your house. I mean, nobody,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the buyers earn anyway. Don't get me started about
They
that. The
do.
whole
Yeah.
lawyers who
Yeah.
make 33% upset with realtors who make 3%. Go figure.
I know. Thank you for saying that, Preston. You are correct.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Bill Gallagher with Superior School of Real Estate, and I'm here with Preston Sandlin of Home Inspection Carolina. Preston, I've always liked your style, especially those pants, and also I've been interested in the home inspection business for a long time.
Well, Bill, that's ironic. I've always admired your style, and I've always admired your ability to educate these fine folks for sometimes 4-8 hours a day. I wish that I could do what you do.
Hey Preston, wouldn't it be cool if we switched? Preston, we sure got what we wished for, buddy.
We sure did. And now that you're the expert, Bill, I mean, you are wearing the pants, and I'm the instructor and the educator. Tell us what Home Inspection Carolina is doing these days to make the home buying process easier for realtors and home buyers.
Well, Preston, all our home inspection reports now are online for the real estate agent and the client to review the report online and to be able to create a repair list basically online by either clicking repair, accept, monetary compensation, and once they prepare the request, they can then press email, text, or print right then.
You mean it's all automated, Bill?
Absolutely, we are high tech.
Wow. What else is Home Inspection Carolina doing different these days?
Well, Preston, we're training our home inspectors to be non-alarmist. We are training them to put things into perspective and to simplify the message for the homeowner.
Non-alarmist is key, Bill. You remember those days of the 100-page reports and those 3-ring binders that would just go on and on and on, la 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 la. Thank you for being a good non-alarmist.
And Preston, one more thing. We fix the small stuff for free. Do you remember when home inspectors always put those little nitpicky items on those reports?
Oh, bless their hearts.
Well, at Home Inspection Carolina, if we can fix it in 5 minutes or less, we do it for free. We're better with a caulk gun than a keyboard any day. We just fix it.
You mean there's no cost for this, Bill?
Preston, it's free.
Wow.
Well, Preston, these pants really are a catch.
Well, Bill, I've enjoyed wearing the suit, but I don't think I could wear it every day because I got to fix the small stuff for free, and I don't want to ruin a good suit.
Preston, it's been a lot of fun flipping the switch.
I mean, who's going to get on them about they pretty much have this whole thing going where they get 33% of a lawsuit. Like,
Yeah.
who's going to sue them? But they're all lawyers. So anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, before I get a cease and desist letter, I better keep
Yeah.
going here.
Let's keep it PG today.
Yeah. So, okay, so this is a two-part question.
Yeah.
What is, if somebody's selling a house, what tip
Yeah.
would you give them? And then the second part of that question, which could be related, is what's the worst color to paint a house?
Oh my
What's the best
God.
color?
Yeah.
Sounds like you have experience in this.
For sure, for sure. I'm going to come back to the seller tip, and I'll have you ask me that question again in a moment. As far as colors to paint a house, all right. So I'm going to tell you how I learned it versus what I see. Okay.
Okay.
So I learned a long, long time ago that you should never paint a house blue because blue is the color of home. They're like the least attractive color that buyers want to buy is blue.
Hmm.
And I was like, is that really still true today? I don't know that answer. Okay. What I do know though is that every time I personally have driven by a house that's painted black, I'm like, why did they do that?
It's
Why
kind of
did
like a
they
trend now. It's kind of like a
why did
trend.
they take that 1960 brick house and paint it black?
Yeah.
Right? Because white I can kind of see, right?
Right.
Other colors I can kind of see. I don't know that black is gonna be a trend for a long time.
That's yeah. I'm like that's kind of like parachute pants. It's real hot right now, but
Yes,
boy, it'll
yes,
go out. Give me the button shirt, the polo
yes,
shirt. It's always going to be in style.
yes. Yeah.
something that's timeless. Yeah.
Yeah, for
No,
sure. So
100%.
so and I don't know if I'm right or wrong about the blue thing. I'd have to go back and we
Right.
might have to ask AI that question later. How
That's a
about
good.
that?
But
What's
I
the
have
what
seen, yeah, I have seen a lot of those like kind of black and brown, and they do look kind of cool. But I'm with you. I'm thinking, I
yeah,
don't,
yeah,
that makes me think of shag carpet, man. It's just like it's really in for a short
yeah,
amount of time, and then it's
yes,
really out,
yep,
and painting a exterior of a house is not a inexpensive endeavor. That's several
mm,
$1,000s. So,
agreed.
this
Agreed.
isn't painting a room is one thing, but painting the
Yeah,
whole exterior of your house, that's a totally different thing. Well,
agreed.
let me ask you this. So there's a lot, I sponsor a lot of new agent orientations and things like that.
Yeah,
And and I've done it for years, at Canopy. And, I've noticed like over time, in any group, there'll be 50, 60, 80, maybe 100 people. And, over time, it's like a few of them will become rock stars.
well,
A few
yes,
of them will
absolutely.
be kind of moderately successful, but
Yep,
a lot will wash out. I mean, it's a
unfortunately.
tough business. It's a tough
It
business.
is.
Um,
Yeah.
what do you think? Because you're obviously one of those people who've been successful. You were one of. What do you think? Is there a secret sauce, or is there
Yeah.
something? What's the? I don't know. What do you think it is that helps the people last versus washing out?
Um, Gosh, it's hard to explain, but it's that drive.
Okay.
I think it's drive, because the people that last, they're learning fast at a high speed. They are going after it, so to speak, right? You say to them, "Hey, go do this and you'll be successful." They're like, "Okay, I'm on it." And then I think a little bit is that it factor, having a little bit of that personality of being able to talk to people,
Yeah.
right? Because I think that's part of it too. So
Right.
it's really, and it's hard to put for me to put my finger on it, but I think that's as close as I can get to an answer for you on that, right? It's
Yeah,
like
no, it's good.
you can't be, and I don't think this is a business. I hear people use this term sometimes. They're like, I just want real estate to be my side hustle. Okay.
Yeah, it's not like DoorDashing or
Right.
it's
So
it's
yeah,
full time. I mean,
it
I don't
is.
think you could do it part time. You can
You
do it
can do
part
it.
time and sell a house to your family, but that's about
Right.
it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that if you're gonna come into this industry in a dual career, because let's face it, I did it. I did it for 9 months, but I worked two full-time jobs. In other
Right.
words, I worked the night shift at the hospital. I slept 4 hours a day, and I
Oh
went
wow.
to the office and I learned and I worked and then went back to the hospital for my night shift,
Wow.
and I did that for 9 months
Wow. You were
before
grinding.
before I quit. And I was scared. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I walked in and handed my resignation in at the hospital, and I thought, okay, Natalie, it's sink or swim, right? There's no,
Yeah, and now you're going from a salary insurance
yeah,
to
all that too.
commission only.
Okay,
I'm
so
sure
here
you
I
had some family members going, "What are you doing, Natalie?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's
Yeah.
okay. That's
No,
okay. And I was surrounded by great people. I
that's
I really
awesome.
was that encouraged me and helped me, and so nobody does this business alone.
Yeah. Did you curious since you had that medical background, nursing medical background, and had obviously contacts and you intimate knowledge of what it's like to be a nurse, or did
Yeah.
you ever did you sell some houses to nurses or medical people? I mean, because you kind of
No,
know their
no, and I'll tell you a funny story about that. There was one
okay,
night I was working in the emergency room. Okay, boy,
okay.
did I learn a lesson. Okay, this guy comes in, he'd been in a motorcycle wreck,
Oh
right?
no.
but he wasn't like but he was really fortunate. He had like some scratches and bruises and, he had a little broken arm, but in the grand scheme of things, he was like really good, right?
Yeah, especially for
So
motorcycle because they
for
don't
sure,
they don't have a
for
whole lot to
sure.
protect them.
For sure. And the guy was, so there he is, and his father is there. And I mean, the guy's like probably in his 40s, right? And dad's like in his 60s. And anyway, and they're like, so, Natalie, what do you do when you're not here at the hospital, saving my son's life? And I'm like looking at him going, hmm. So, open mouth, insert foot. I say in my most happy voice, oh, I'm so glad you asked. I sell real estate. I want you to know that that was the early days. And that was not my most fun transaction ever. I ended up selling the guy a house
Really?
after he got out of the hospital and he got well and all of that. And from that point on, I was like, ooh, if these are the people I'm going to attract, I'm probably not going to be saying that in this environment.
But you saved his life. Was he hard to work with, or was the other side hard to work with, or?
He was just difficult. He was abrasive. He was
Hmm. You
it, it,
saved his
he
life. He should have been like,
he should have been like, okay,
yeah,
but like it was, I don't know, and maybe he sensed I was maybe a little more timid then,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I was really confident in my nursing role, right? But
right,
in my real estate role, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So
yeah,
he might have sensed that and been taking advantage a little bit.
yeah. Well, back to the 80-20. I've even broke it down more than that, I think.
Oh, tell
I
me.
told, yeah, I tell my family, I was like, I think I would say there's about 5% or 10%, maybe 5% of the people that just aren't going to be happy no matter what, and then there's probably another, you break it down, there's, 15-20% they're just pretty much happy all the time. Love those people. And then there's probably another 80% that are kind of 50-50, not
Yeah.
bad, not good, but there is like a 5 or 10% of people. It's just like they're just difficult. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, they buy stuff to take it back. I had a roommate like that one time. Like literally, I think he enjoyed taking stuff back. Like he
Oh,
took it,
yes.
like
Yes.
you just enjoy conflict or something. I don't know,
Yes.
but
You know what? I call those the complainers.
yeah, I don't
And
get
if
it,
they
man.
come,
I
they
try to
come,
avoid conflict.
yes. And if they
I'm
come
I'm
in
the opposite
complaining,
though.
oh no, no.
I should take on conflict. I avoid it to the point
Yeah,
sometimes, I should. I wish I was a little more like, you know what I mean. I'm sure
I
you
do.
strike me as you're
Oh
being a little
yeah.
bit like that too. Too nice
Yeah.
sometimes, but anyway.
Well, that's okay. It still works for us
Yeah,
90% of the time.
that's right. There you go. There you go. Awesome. So let me ask you this, Natalie, and I'll start winding up because I know your time's valuable.
Okay.
Um, so for realtors who are listening to this, maybe starting out,
Yeah.
now there's all kinds of strategies, right? Calling
Oh yeah.
FISBOs, door knocking, working neighborhoods, farming. One thing I know that you do is you have networking kind of events, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And that's the way I like the way you did it too. It wasn't just a networking event. I've gone to a ton of networking events.
Yeah.
And a majority of these networking events, here's what happens. You wind up meeting two or three people and being comfortable with them, and you just talk to those two or three people the entire event, and
Yep.
everybody's kind of the same. And I like the way you did it. You put them in groups and questions and cross
Yeah.
pollinated, so eventually everybody talked to everybody. But so what strategies do you use to find buyers and sellers? I mean, I mean, then there's all kinds of strategies, and I feel like
Yeah.
I think they all work if they're done properly. But what do you use? What do you recommend?
And I like to keep in touch with the people I know, right? It
Right.
goes back to that thing of attraction, right? Meaning I want to attract people that are friends with the people that I already like, right? So for that reason, for me, it's really about maintaining those relationships, right? And then I also believe that, oh, I've got an energy saver that just came on. Did my light dim? That's crazy. So
Yeah.
okay, good. I also believe that, there's enough business for everyone out there. So, but I like to work with my vendor partners, specifically because I like to send business to the home inspector and the roofer and the electrician and the plumber, right? Because that's what the clients want, right? They
Right.
want our seal of approval on those vendors. So I feel like it's my responsibility to have good relationships with vendors and that do quality work so
Yeah, that's
that
part of your value proposition,
that's it, right? So that when somebody needs that, I can say, hey, this person is tried and trusted, and that makes a difference. So I think, the people that I know, and past clients, that's the bulk of it, right? But I also like to work closely with my vendor partners, to
Awesome.
cultivate those referrals that way.
Good stuff. And if anybody out there is listening to this, get on and follow Natalie.
Yeah. Well,
What's your property out there on internet?
oh yeah, no problem. So I'm on Facebook, under my name Natalie Terry, and I'm on Instagram at Natalie Terry Realtor
Awesome. Because she
on
has networking
Instagram.
events that are
Yeah,
awesome.
if you
That was good.
absolutely, and I'll do a plug there. Like if you are a business owner, whatever your business is, if you are a business owner and you want to come and meet other business owners and grow your network of people, I do an event twice a year for my vendors, and it is a strategic networking event. It's a lot of fun. Preston can certainly
Oh yeah,
attest to
yeah,
that.
cool.
Um,
Yeah.
but we do it twice a year in January at the beginning of the year, and then in June
And
right
they can
before
find out
everybody.
about that if they follow you on
Yep,
Facebook. You
yep.
post it.
They can just come and reach out to me directly, and I'll get you connected.
Awesome. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I'll do the lightning round real quick,
Oh
and then
boy,
one last
you didn't
question.
send me those questions.
Yeah, I did. See, I saved some. All
Oh
right, so
boy.
I'm going to give you two things, and you just pick one. It's just
Okay,
to get to know Natalie better. Dog or cat?
dog.
Netflix or YouTube?
Uh, Netflix.
Phone call or text?
Either,
Cardio or weights?
both.
iOS or Android?
Android.
Hey, I'm an Android. Hey,
Hey, you know what?
yeah.
I know that's
I'd
not
say
the top.
80% of the people I interview are Apple, and they're like, "What's that?"
That is not the popular choice, but I'm do great with my Android.
Yeah, I like it because I can get more phone for the money. I get more
Yeah,
memory, more. I actually
more
carry.
everything.
Well, I carry my new phone, but I carry my old phone because it has I don't use. I use it to do videos and stuff because it has an SD card in it, so I can do
Yeah.
lots of
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Anyway,
absolutely.
I could go on and on about that. So, do you prefer a big party or a small gathering?
I like a small gathering.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
What's worse, laundry or dishes?
Neither.
Neither.
If somebody else does them.
Nice. Jogging or hiking?
Uh, wow. I'm jogging actually.
Jogging. You like
Yeah.
that? What is it? They say like after you run like 20
Yeah, the
minutes, you start getting
euphoria.
endorphins,
Yeah,
and
the
yeah.
endorphins. Yeah.
I used to do it, but my back hurts so bad
Yeah.
now that I've got sciatica. Anyway, I start riding a bike. I'm starting to get like a,
The bike is great.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sort of, I have to ride it a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but I do, you get in that state, it's like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like, I think it's the same thing. I read this book, the antidepressants, the stuff
Yes,
but it's being released naturally without side effects.
absolutely. And that's why we do it.
100%.
Yeah.
Tennis shoes or flip flops? Did I say that one right? No.
Yeah, tennis shoes.
Tennis shoes. Hamburgers or tacos?
Tacos.
Would you rather go to a theme park or the beach?
The beach.
The beach. And the most important one, oh, wait a minute. When sleeping, fan on or fan off?
Fans.
Fans, yes, we have all
No,
kinds of fans.
no fans. No fans.
Are you an old school like a book, like you like a physical book, or are you a Kindle reader?
Neither. I do Audible.
Oh, I do too. I do too. 2 books a month.
Audible.
Were you on that legacy plan or whatever? Where it's like
No.
50, I was on it. It was $15 a month for 2 books. And
Yeah.
I did that forever. I mean, I've been a member since like
Yeah.
2010. And they
Yeah.
just made me switch it. Now it's like $24 or something.
Yeah, that's what I've been paying. I've been paying that. But I like Audible because
Oh, I do too.
I
And
can
it doesn't
turn it
matter what the
on.
book costs.
Right. And I don't fall asleep to Audible.
Yeah, well, I love it for road trip because I call it Windshield
Yes.
University.
Yes.
Well, I mix it up. I try to listen to like a nonfiction, like business marketing book, but then I'll go
Yeah.
listen to,
Oh,
a
yeah.
serial killer book or something.
Murder mystery. Yes.
Yeah. Who's
I
your favorite author? Who's your favorite author? Or give me a
like
couple authors.
I like Michael Connolly. He
Oh
writes
yeah, no, Michael.
a
That's
series about Detective Bosch.
Hieronymus Bosch
Yeah,
in L.A.
Hieronymus Bosch. Yeah, so I love Michael Connolly. I actually watch for like whenever his next release is going to be,
Yep,
right?
yep. And he writes the Lincoln Lawyer too, right? I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think
yeah.
that was John Grisham.
Is it?
No, it might have been. It might have been.
I think.
I
Yeah, I
think
think
you're
it was
right.
him because the Lincoln Lawyer was like his half brother,
You're right.
Bosch's half brother or
Yes,
something.
Mickey
But
Haller, his cousin.
yeah, but John Grisham, I
Yes,
love John Grisham too.
yes.
And who's the other guy that I really like? He writes all the serial killer books.
John
Patterson.
Sanford.
No, but what's
Like
that guy's name?
he wrote the
Her,
Prey series. I had to stop
yeah.
reading those. Those were disturbing.
Oh, really? I tell you what, though, if you're on a road trip and
Yeah.
like, because if you just listen to music, you get so bored. But man, you get in one of these
Yes.
books and you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I
You're
pull
like,
in the
what's going to
driveway, I'm
happen
still
next?
listening. So
Exactly.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
Well, last question for you, because
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you up, but Natalie, if you woke up tomorrow and
Yeah.
a parallel universe, I mean, you'll see where I'm
Yeah.
going with this in just a second. You had all of your license, your computer, all of that stuff, but you didn't know anybody, but you had $5,000. What would you do? I mean, you don't have to go buy a computer, you don't have to
Yeah.
go take any classes. With the knowledge that you have, what would you
Yeah.
do with that $5,000 to get your name out there and get some business?
Uh, wow.
It's kind of
Uh,
an ROI question.
yeah, right.
And I'm sorry
If
for
I
all the
didn't know,
listeners. I
if I didn't,
centered some of the questions.
yeah, I didn't,
She didn't get this last part,
no, I think
and
I'd
I
be
don't mean to
tempted. No, you're fine. You're fine. I think I'd be tempted to put the money in the bank and go door knocking.
door knocking. Yeah, I
I mean,
guess
I know
it's sort
that
of a
sounds
question
crazy
of.
because I'd want to be face to face with people, right?
Mhm.
The more, and real estate is a contact sport, right? The more contacts you make, the more contracts you write,
Right,
right?
right.
So
Yeah,
I
100%.
would invest the time to be in front of the most people that I could be in.
Awesome. If you were door knocking now, let me take it one step further. Would
Yeah.
you concentrate, like, would you pick like 2 or 3 neighborhoods to focus on, or would
Yeah.
you?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I'd do my research and make sure that the neighborhood that I was focusing on had at least a 5% turnover year over year.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's a good idea.
and you know what? And I wouldn't be shy about it. And I would plaster the neighborhood with everything that was about, buying houses, selling houses, general information about the community. You know what I mean? I would be the neighborhood resource, the neighborhood expert.
Nice. Would you do like a Facebook group maybe, or for that
Oh, yeah.
neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The whole
that's
thing.
good. Awesome. Well, Natalie, thank you so much. This has been fun.
Thank
We
you.
could talk forever, but I
I know.
promised
I
I
love
wouldn't
it.
keep you
I love it.
more than 45 minutes. One more
You're great.
time for all the listeners out there. I know they got value. How can they follow, like you? Because I think that helps maybe
Yeah,
your SEO or stuff.
for
Whatever the
sure.
kids do. Like, follow. I guess it depends
Yeah.
on. So tell us all the places that you're on the internet or the apps?
For
What are
sure.
your handles?
For
Where are
sure.
you?
So I'm on Facebook under Natalie Terry or Terry Realty Group
Okay.
on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram at Natalie Terry Realtor. And I'm on LinkedIn under my name. You can find me that way. I have a TikTok account, but I don't go on there too much. I think I'm Natalie 704
Okay.
on TikTok. And I know there's others, but I don't get on there as much probably.
Yeah. So if you're a
Yeah,
new agent or
yeah.
agent's been out
Please
there,
come find
or
me.
yeah, or if you are buying or selling a house or will be in the
Yeah,
next anytime, I guess.
yeah,
Everybody's gonna buy or sell at some point, you know. I mean,
for
we
sure,
all are.
for
So
sure.
to reach you. Well, thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank
Um,
you, Preston. It's always a pleasure.
you brought a lot of value today. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I appreciate you. Take care.
You too.
You've been listening to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin. Join us on the next episode where we'll be talking to a successful agent or vendor about the right things to do and the wrong things you should avoid. Join us on the next episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast.